The sun is up. We all rose. But can we still agree that was really, really stupid? This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. In our third segment later on, let's go ahead and tease up Egor Demin coming back to BYU. A small birdie's telling me that's the case, and I'll back up why. In the middle of your meat, the instant reaction, we're going to go back and visit last night when I was a little emotional after Houston's loss to Florida in the national championship, and where we will begin today is that loss. But with a little more wherewithal, I've had a second to calm down, and I have new, more mature thoughts on what we saw. And the way I want to open those thoughts are, that sucked. That sucked. Can we agree? I don't want to complain. Yesterday I said the word robbed, and I still want to stand by this game. We as fans were robbed from seeing how this should have played out or could have played out. What I want to say today is I would find it hard for you to argue against me. I would find it hard for anyone to argue that this game was made better by the officials. The first half, sure, 4 fouls. The second half, Florida gets a very warranted technical foul where a player slams the ball against the floor and it lands. I didn't know there's a rule where if you catch it, apparently you don't get called for it, but he didn't catch it, so he got called for the technical foul. From there, Florida got 1 foul call on them and 11 on Houston after that. 11-1. I don't know if I've ever seen that. We saw it in the national championship game. We got what could have been a classic. What could have been an all-time 2 scrappy teams going back and forth, the best 2 squads in the country, the best 2 still alive. And instead, we got a ref show. Instead, Twitter is blowing up about how Houston lost this game. Houston lost this game because the refs took the game out of the hands of the players. The refs changed the way the game was played. Houston was like, yeah, we can be physical. We can come out here and actually dominate playing the game that we know how to play. And the officials said, yeah, sure, that's great, except not anymore. And the entire trajectory of what happened was changed. Can we agree this game was made worse? This game went from being fun to watch, from a classic, to now becoming the ref show, to the attention being pointed to the guys with the whistles wearing the stripes. And that's never a good thing, especially in the national championship. And we talk a lot in the Big 12 about those Tuesday night games between West Virginia and UCF that aren't officiated very well. And you hope your team gets out of there alive. There are 56 combined free throws in that game. And then the last thing you want is for that to be a storyline following the national championship. Even the host of Locked On Gators said it was a ref show. And he was cool with it. 65-63, the Gators won. 21-14, the free throw count. 19-11, the foul count. Houston took 16 more shots than Florida. 16 more shots than the Gators. This game was decided at the free throw line. That 7 free throw disparity is huge when you take into account Houston had 3 more field goals than the Gators, the same amount of three-pointers made. So where did the extra points come from? The free throw line. Where did Florida win? The free throw line. 40 rebounds for Florida, 39 for Houston. That's almost dead even. You look at steal count, 7-5 in favor of Florida, almost dead even. Blocks, 5-6. Turnovers, 9-13. Where was the difference in this game? Points off turnovers, 10-9. It was the free throw line where Florida got an extra couple free passes. Where Houston was called for phantom stuff, or LJ Cryer was called for pushing a player who fell down on his own. Where Florida was not called for travels late in this game. Last couple possessions, Houston has to foul here, under 30, like 26 seconds to go, and the immediate inbound Florida player walks. Well, they give it to him. He throws the ball away. Florida picks it back up. As soon as that guy's got it, he walks. No whistle. And what sucks, man, is I've watched college basketball my entire life. Basketball is my sport. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. And I know what it feels like. I know how it feels. Texas Tech fans, you have been there recently when you lose the national championship. And you look around and you're like, oh, shoot. We won 5 games in March. We're one of 2 teams that won 5 games in March. And now we have to do that all over again to even have the opportunity to be in a championship. Houston had not been there since 1984, right? Florida had not been there since 2007. That's 18 years. There are legal adults who were born the year that Florida last won the national championship. Yes, we're all getting older rapidly. And I can't guarantee you, as good as Kelvin Sampson is, that he'll be back anytime soon. Should he be? Yes, no doubt. Houston is one of the best programs in the country right now, but the problem is March Madness is so unpredictable. You have to have the perfect concoction of a team, the perfect player on a team, the perfect leader on a team to win the entire thing, to win the whole dance. I mean, great teams the last 10 years. Duke doesn't have a national championship, which is just wild, by the way. You know, we're talking about these universities that are perennial powerhouses, and Houston has become that. And I can't guarantee the next time. So it feels so empty that, we were right there. We were seconds away. If this is an NBA clock and there are 12-minute quarters, Houston might win this game by 10, 5, 8, whatever. But instead, there's that hollow feeling of we got so close. We didn't do it. And there's no way to get it back now. It's gone. You have to go through an entire 365 days till we get to the end of the tournament next year. And if you don't go to it next year, you got to go 365 after that. The opportunity to even play for a championship, to play in March Madness again. And that's what sucks the most here for the Big 12. You're on the cusp of winning it. The way this game was played, the way it was officiated, the trajectory of the national championship was affected by three guys with whistles in their pocket or around their neck. And from there, Houston now has to wait another year for the opportunity to do it again, and possibly further than that, because there's no rule that, you were the runner-up this year, you get another shot next year. You get to go back to the championship. There's no fast pass. This is not Disney World. As good as you were, as historic as Houston was, as great as the Big 12 was this year, this crescendo, Florida winning the national championship, is done. It's over. It's written. And that is the toughest part to reckon with for me. And I hope that when the officials watch this game back, they're like, shoot, dude, maybe Florida wins by more if the officials call this game the way they did in the first half. I don't know. I don't think so, obviously. But maybe things go drastically different. Like this game was called the same way both halves, but it wasn't. And that is a disservice to the basketball players, to the Houston players who are in the trenches, punching each other in the face at practice, running sub 5.5 minute miles at practice for this opportunity, and three chubby guys jogging around the floor like, I don't know, foul, I guess, on LJ Cryer, who didn't touch the guy. The guy trips and LJ Cryer gets a foul. The fact that is what's going to determine the way the game is played, not who wins necessarily, but the way the game is played, that's what's tough. This was my calmer reaction to what happened in last night's game. Coming up before we talk Egor Demin, let me give you my reaction from immediately after the game. We'll see if you agree with that one more. This one, sometimes I don't like when I'm calm. I feel like I'm better when I'm rowdy and mad at things. So maybe you like that more on Locked On Big 12. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, by the way, your team, and it's every day. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Look, I get it. The tournament's over. But the NBA is here. MLB is here. The Savannah Bananas are playing banana ball. And when I found Game Time, getting to those events became so much easier. Last-minute tickets are cheaper than ever with Game Time, and 110% of the difference if you find tickets cheaper somewhere else. That's the Game Time guarantee. Seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and the lowest price guaranteed. You can book with total confidence. Their lowest price guarantee means I never worry about overpaying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account on the app with Game Time with code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, and that, my friend, is guaranteed. When your national championship has two of the most physical teams in college basketball, you go the entire first half and only call 4 fouls, and then the end of this game, we have 20 in the second half, and it's the entire determinant in that second half for who wins this game. That is a pitiful way to end your college basketball season. And once again, guys wearing the stripes wanted to be the star of the show. Houston did a lot of boneheaded, stupid stuff at the end. No doubt. And I'll get into the Emmanuel Sharp play, LJ Cryer completely falling apart. Honestly, the entire Houston offense falling apart. But where I first want to go with this is an impeccable national championship game where Houston is up 12 is ruined, where 11 fouls are called on the Cougars, 1 foul called on Florida in a short stretch in the second half. And from there, everything changed. Oh, he's complaining. Oh, this is just, there's complaining. And then there's hard evidence, numbers to back this up. 4 fouls in the first half. 4. Houston is built like an NFL football team. Houston is built to play hard physical defense, and the Cougars had to completely rework the way they play their game. Florida wants to go fast. Florida wants to go up-tempo. Houston does not. They're the slowest team in the country, the most physical team in the country. They want to beat the heck out of you on the boards. They want to take the ball from you when it's on the floor. That is what Houston is built on, and the officials said, fine, do it. That's legal in this basketball game until they decided it wasn't anymore, and that sucks. It sucks that I was having a really good time watching a college basketball game. You all were. And then they took over. I think UConn and Dan Hurley would have said the same thing against Florida. I don't know what Greg Sankey had to do at halftime, who he had to call, who ESPN had to ccall, or CBS had to call, or who got the phone. And the other line, the other side, the officiating crew, that person relayed, hey, we're going to need the Gators here. And from then on, this game was bad. From then on, this game did not make a lot of sense. 65-63, Florida, named national champions this year in college basketball, knocking off Houston despite the Cougars having a 12-point lead. 19 fouls against Houston, 11 against Florida. The Gators went to the free throw line 21 times, 14 for Kelvin Sampson's team, predicated on physicality. They were bad at shooting free throws last year, Houston was. They weren't very good this year. They shot 64% tonight, and that's where you got to get into Houston just not playing well at all for the last 10 minutes or so. The officials, I can go over and on about how really, really tough they were to watch in this game, about how really hard it was to enjoy this basketball game down the stretch because of the way they took over. But Emmanuel Sharp on that last play, look, dude, you have left the air. Your shot's probably going to be blocked. I don't understand how Houston, coming out of a break with 19 seconds to go, can just completely fall apart. It's like LJ Cryer had never played basketball before. It's like this entire offense had never played basketball before. Oh, well, fancy for this guy to say, who's got his microphone in his room, probably never played a day in his life. I can look at hot garbage on a basketball court. I don't have to play a minute of college ball or pro ball to know I'm looking at hot garbage on a basketball floor. The offense for Houston the last 5 minutes. Why is LJ Cryer standing there? Why is Emmanuel Sharp kicking the ball out of bounds trying to play hero ball? Where is anyone else? Where is anyone else on the perimeter? Where is the efficiency on the glass? Where is the attack to grab offensive rebounds? It left. It left. And what we were left with at the end of this game was bad. Florida winning the national championship. I want to emphasize that last possession Florida had, second to last possession, like multiple travels there. Immediately get the ball in, travel, get it across half court where the ball. There is a loose ball, and Houston just doesn't really move for it. They don't really move for it, and then Florida picks it up, and immediately the guy walks. No call. Instead, it's called a foul. Emmanuel Sharp playing hero. Not what we needed there. How about the goaltend that wasn't called? Then Florida hits a 3. I don't understand how we didn't go back to the goaltend. That's something we can review in commercial and say, hey, by the way, that was a goaltend. Houston was short of 2 points. Like, legitimately, they could have decided, I think, at the end of this one, with 0 seconds on the clock. Oh, by the way, obvious goaltend when the Florida player tipped the ball out of the rim. That by definition is 2 points for Houston. We could have decided at the end of this, hey, we're actually tied. We're going to overtime. How about the foul on Francis, who's just playing good defense down below? I think it's jacked by an elbow. Yep. Let's send the Florida player to the line. This whole game changed. It went from damn good basketball, really solid basketball, and something that was great to watch and a product that you could be proud of, to me just being frustrated watching this because guys who get paid to police players were over-policing, and it wasn't something they did in the first half. If you're going to call every ticky-tacky foul, and that's the way we determine this, and both teams have to adjust from there, okay, I hate that. I hate that a lot, but we can at least understand that's how the officials are going to do this. But it's not what we saw. It's not what we saw. I mid-game tweet. Epic national championship game. The referees shat all over it. Fire them into the sun where, yes, they inevitably will disintegrate. Man, this is a good Florida team. Man, it was for a large portion of this, a good basketball game. Houston, after the Duke game, you looked at their win probability and they had a 92% chance to lose. This game, they had a 92% chance to win with 16:24 to go, up 42-30. That wanes, and then it comes right back. Then with 3:48 to go, Houston's up 60-57. We're so back. It's a 3-point game. Cougars have a real shot. Then 66% chance to win with 2:22 to go. Now Florida comes back into it, and a minute 8, Houston up 63-62. That's where Houston would stop scoring entirely. It's a minute and 8 to go after the Uzan defensive rebound. That was it. Florida took over from there. It was all Gators. And 19 seconds, you didn't even get a shot in the air. Like 6 seconds, 7 seconds went off when Sharp just shot fake, pound the ball on the ground, which if you have two hands on the ball and you jump upwards, the ball has to leave your hand. You can't be the next one to touch it. He did the right thing. But honestly, I would rather him just touch it, get the call, go foul Florida, and let's do something. Let's do anything that has an opportunity for Houston to win this game and you get a shot up. No one moved. Everyone just stood there and looked at it. Gosh dang, man. Seconds away from a national championship for the Big 12. Seconds away for a national championship for the first time for Houston. Hate it for Jim Nance. Hate it for Hakeem, who was there. The dream. Hate it for Kelvin Sampson. LJ Cryer. Go Baylor Bears. It'll be his only championship that he has in college. I was in the house for that one. I don't like it. I don't like any of it. I don't like any of it. More tomorrow. We'll break it all down tomorrow. I don't even know what I'm going to say. I don't know what there is to say. This is Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Egor Demin is returning to BYU. Now, I can't guarantee that. By the time you watch this, he may have already made his announcement, but he's returning to BYU. Do you understand the context clues? It doesn't take a tinfoil hat to know that the kid's coming back. Before you get like, oh, well, this guy's just hoping. This is one of the biggest stories of the offseason because now BYU is top 5 for the sports books in odds to win a national championship in college basketball next year. Him coming back is huge. And here's why I think he's coming back. Because if you look at the NBA mock drafts, Egor Demin, who was a massive piece for BYU last year, could come back and play with AJ DeBonsa, loves Cougar Nation. He was at conference this weekend. His girlfriend's there. Cool. But past all of that, if he gets drafted 25th, 26th overall, that's not a lottery pick. That's like, I don't know, measly $6 million your first 2 years. 2 years, $2.5 or $3 million per year, your first 2 years, something in that range in the NBA. Hello, Mr. Egor, Stagor, if I will. Hello. As someone who loves the Big 12, wants to change the face of this conference as not just a basketball powerhouse, but the best basketball conference of all time, as someone who loves when good players stay, as someone who loves the Big 12 is touted, and teams like BYU or Baylor or Kansas or Arizona are good, Mr. Demin, can I tell you, I got some friends in Provo that got some money. Jerem Jordan came on this show and told me BYU, now that it's over the table, BYU at this point can start giving money to players and being like, yeah, everybody, we're rich. Surprise. We don't have to hide it. We don't have to do things illegally. Once we can pay players and the entire world can see it, we're rich. The freshman from Moscow, Russia. This is a kid that I thought when he first got to BYU would be a one and done, and probably could be, definitely could be, right? He'd be drafted in the first round. But then, now, $2.5 million to go to the NBA, or $3 million from my friend who owns the Utah Hockey Club, or the Jazz, which they play basketball, and Egor Demin does the basketball thing. Stagor sees that. He's like, oh, I can make $3 million to stay at BYU, which I really enjoy. To stay at BYU where the fan base loves me, to stay in the Big 12 where I get to play an elite level of basketball. Dude, if you watch that Houston game, this conference, I would put Houston up against like 3 or 4 of the teams in the NBA, at the bottom of the NBA. Maybe against the Utah Jazz. Sorry. I would put Houston against them, and Egor Demin could come back and play that caliber of basketball. He was an impeccable piece for BYU this year. Fun to watch. One of those guys like Tamin Lipsey in conference. I loved watching Tamin Lipsey. I loved turning the TV on and watching VJ Edgecombe play for Baylor. Hunter Dickinson is just Hunter Dickinson. I don't know if I loved watching him play, but I would turn it on because Hunter Dickinson's playing for Kansas. Egor Demin was the guy you turn your TV on for. And Dallin Hall leaving opens the door for this monster mountain of a man to be that stretch one, the four converted into a one that can shoot the three now, because during March Madness he proved he could shoot the three and he can actually run the offense for BYU. If you want to be a point guard, you can, Egor. You just go out there and do whatever you want there, big guy. And if you want to play down low, you can, Egor. You know why? Because you're really tall. And we're going to give you money and you like playing here, and you can forego the NBA draft for 1 year and help build a possible championship team at BYU. I alluded to this earlier, and it makes me think there are small birdies that are in ears that have an idea of where he's going. The conspiracy theory grows here for me. I'm not even halfway done. He has an idea of where he's going, and I have an idea of where he's going because the draft books right now, Vegas, has BYU in the top 5 in the country in odds. Houston's body is not even cold yet. It's not even dead in the grave. And BYU is already top 5 in odds to win a national championship. They haven't even been to a Final Four in their history. Someone knows something. Someone knows that a very tall, handsome Russian man might be returning to play at the Marriott Center next year. Past that, he's making his announcement at 10 a.m. He posted on his Instagram, said, I'm going to make an announcement, 10 a.m. tomorrow. Be there or be square. Love to see you guys. Who announces? Okay, hear me out. Who announces they're going to the NBA draft via something on live? Who announces they're going to the NBA draft on a television show and then goes on BYU TV? You know why that doesn't happen? You know why they just put graphics out? Because when you announce what college you're going to, there's an entire fan base that roots for that. If you show up to the table and you just pick up a hat that has an NBA logo on it, that doesn't do anything for you. That doesn't say, nobody's getting excited over that. Nobody's like, oh, well, I'm a general fan of the NBA, so I'm excited for Egor Demin, who's declaring himself going to the draft. No, that's why you post a graphic. Because when you do get drafted by the Suns, that's where it's cool. That's where fan base loves you. Otherwise, going live does nothing because now everyone in there is just disappointed you're not coming back to BYU. And then he's not going on NBA TV. He's not going on Bleacher Report. He's not doing a live interview after that, even on ESPN. He's not doing a live interview after that on Professional Basketball Live. He's doing it on BYU TV with my friends Jerem and Spencer. Do you think that man would go on BYU TV after he just told the entire BYU world, I'm not coming back? I don't think that's going to be the case for a cat who became a staple for the Cougars this year, for a cat who could use it. I don't know. Can I say this? Am I allowed to say this? He could use another year of college. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to see Egor Demin back in a BYU jersey because him being 26th overall, I saw this with Kendall Brown at Baylor a couple years ago, who was supposed to be a lottery pick, ends up kind of bottoming out during college. Not to say Egor did, but he had a couple slow months there. And I would love to have him back at BYU because of the progression he had late in the season. And I think he's a great asset for an NBA team. But I've seen this song and dance where the guy goes in the late 20s and just kind of gets forgotten, goes to the G League for a little bit, and then poof, where'd that guy go? And I don't want to see that for him. Wouldn't it be advantageous based on how you saw him play for a solid portion of this year? Like, look at the splits here. 34.5% on the road shooting, 46% at home. I mean, 11.5 points at home, 8.5 on the road. Like, there's some growing up to do still. Doesn't mean he's not a great basketball player, won't be a great asset going into BYU next year. But that this is going to be good for him to come back. And he gets to play with the number one player in the country, AJ Devonsa. What more can I offer you, Egor? Take my $3 million, $3.5 million. Play with the number one player in the country. Be the point guard if you want to. Stay at BYU that loves you, and it seems like you love it. That is the perfect combination for a guy like this to say, I'm coming back. And from that point, that's how Houston built, is they got guys to commit to multiple years to stay in the program. That's how BYU's built it in the past, not with transfers. But with guys who say, you know what, fine. Richie Saunders looks around the locker room and goes, oh, shoot. The talent level compared to when he got there has just skyrocketed. Like I said, Dallin Hall transferring is kind of a sign of the times. It's no longer a Dallin Hall-like program at BYU. It's a Egor Demin, AJ DeBonsa program. Those are the guys that are the caliber to play in Provo. Dallin Hall, not so much anymore. BYU is building a super team. And people, they rag on me sometimes like, oh, I got an email, a nasty email from some lady that said I talked about BYU too much. They just keep winning. What do you want me to do, man? Like Egor Demin coming back. They number one player in basketball. Football wins 11 games. Should have gotten more respect for the college football playoff. They just keep winning. Oh, I'm a Utah fan. I listen to Locked On Big 12. I'm sorry. I don't really know how to get. I don't know how to get around it. There's not a way. This is the number one possible returning player in the Big 12, who is, Flory at Kansas is another one. Badunga at Kansas is another one. You're like, yeah, that could be a game-changing guy. That was a weird, funky deal. But sometimes it's like, shoot, if you want me to not talk about BYU, then make them bad at things. They're just not. They're good at everything now. Lee Cummard, the new women's basketball coach, can turn around that program too, I'm sure. This has been, it always will be. Houston lost. I haven't been the same since. Not even cold in the grave, and we're already talking about next year's national champion contenders. I got a new hat this weekend. You want to see it? It's Tyler Childers' hat. I got it at the Childers show. I like to tell people it looks like a girl hat. Like if I wore it in Arkansas, it'd be a girl hat for sure. Like, you can't really get away with hats like this in Arkansas. People are like, oh, that's a real feminine hat. But in Savannah, Georgia, where I live full time, this is like a hat you can absolutely get away with. It's Sky hat, right? Camo with the blue. Yeah. Country boy. Great concert, man. That dude's voice, vocal control's wild. This has been It Always Will Be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Just stuff floating around. Dose Grande.